I'm going to demonstrate some of the features of Listi here. The first thing I'm going to show is here's a pre-existing list I have, and I'm going to create some content using Listi. This here is what I call the breadcrumb. If you want to get at any part of the list, you can click to the top. I have 257 items in my top list, and then I have 528 things to do. This here is telling me that I can go directly to this list by entering the shortcut T to D, and this is a sublist within Listi. And this list is showing me data for new users, and I already have 5 items in here. And I'm going to document the different parts of a list using a list. A little confusing. So let's enter. In Listi, you add items to the top, and you can press this add button here or press the enter key. So I'm going to add an item to this list called parts of a Listi, and I'll click add, and that item gets added to the Listi. Now if I want to add a sublist to this, one of the things I need to do is I need to show what we call our links, and I'm going to bring up the top, what I call the top navigation, which is normally here, but I took it off. Here's the top nav. So the parts of the list are top nav, and we have to show links to be able to update these items. There's a bunch of links that go to the left of each list that are hidden right now. So I'll show links, and you see the links have come up. Now to get a sublist, we click on N, which creates a list, and after I click it, we get a blank list. And again, it's the same format, and you can see now a new thing is added, Listi welcome screen. So the part of the lists are, we have top nav, the next thing we have is we have the checkbox, which tells us whether this list is public or not. So I'll say public list checkbox. And the next thing we have are the breadcrumbs, so I'll type in breadcrumbs. I pressed the enter key just there. But there's a way to just turn off the breadcrumbs. We say breadcrumb equal false, equal no. You see the breadcrumbs are gone. The next thing we have is our time tracking bar, and there's a way in Listi to track your time if you're interested. This is telling me at 10:31 I started creating the Listi welcome screen for new users, and I've been doing for 2 hours and 8 minutes now. So I'll say the time tracking bar. The next thing we have is the parts of a Listi, which is the list name. And the fourth thing, now there's something that's missing here, and it's called the comment. Each list has number of items, a header, and there's also a comment we can place right in between the header and the items by pressing this link here, edit list comment, and I can type whatever I want. This is a comment for this list, just as a sample, and then I press update, and here's the comment. So the next part is a comment. Okay, and that got added. And the final thing is the list. Okay, now I've demonstrated what the N link here, and now we can press this C, which is for change, and if I want to change this to something else, I press C, and I can overlay this with something. and it changes. The next item is D, which is deletes an item, and since I like all of these items, I'll add something we don't need. And here's that item I added. If I want to delete it, I can click the D for delete, and the item gets deleted. Now, one nice thing about Listi, we don't really delete anything. It's still there, and if you want to undo the last delete, you can come up here, and I'll show you that in a future video. So we now have a list of all the things, and let me go over the rest of these. These arrows just move an item up or down, so if I want to move the top nav down, I press this arrow, and you see it switched, and if I move it back up, the other thing is I can move an item to the top by using the T link here. So if I want to move list to the top, I could press T on automatically. So then we have it here. And then if I wanted to move it down, I could do it a few ways. One is with down arrows, which is a bit slow. Okay, so basically I've demonstrated what all of these links are except for this last one. And the last one does time tracking. Shows you track your time if you hover over it. So if I wanted to track that I was working on this, I could press the K. And what happens is it goes into my to-do list for May 6th, 2012, and adds another item to the list here. At 12:44, I'm time tracking the top navigation. And this is automatically maintained. You have to go back to get back to where you were. And I need to refresh this. I'm pressing F5 to refresh the screen, and here you see it has the latest working on. So that's the basics of how you could use Listi. And let me go up again. Now some of the other things, this takes me to the top list. Up takes me up one list, so we'll press that. If I click on this welcome to Listi.net, this is some of the text I've set up already, and I still have to finish it. Like, for example, this link isn't working over 10 years. So, and I'm going to go up, which was going to really link to this. So now if I want to update this, the Listi development story, I create a new list with N, and then I want to edit the list comment. Then I'm going to type in the story. I figured I'd say something like that because every great software starts in a garage. So I'm going to update this. And here's the thing. Now, one of the things I'm going to need to do is I have to remember this, so I'm going to have to link to this. I'm going to copy this to the clipboard I highlighted and then press Control-C. And I'm also going to make this a public list so anyone can see it now. And I'm going to go up. Another thing, once you make a list public, there's also an option that public can add to it. So if anybody wanted to add to the list, not to the comment, they could do it here, but they won't be able to delete it. So I'm going to go up. I'm going to go to my welcome list, and I want to fix this link, which isn't right, so I've got to edit the comment. And that was here over 10 years. And here's a hyperlink. You need to know HTML to understand what this means. But basically, this is the way you set up links on web pages. You use a less than sign A for anchor, then the word href, and then in quotes you put the URL, which I'm going to paste in using Control-V, and it says show list, and that was what it said. And over 10 years. So now I update it. And when we click over 10 years, which is here, it should take me to that story. And here is Listi development story. I'm going to go back. And so I have to complete this, and this is also public. So that's just a few things you can do with Listi. I'm going to go back to that list, which is up. And see, I can see that this one, since it's black, I can see I haven't put any text in it. Again, I could enter the N for it to turn it into a list. Some of the other things you can do while we're here is I'll just go through the top nav. There's some options you can set for each list. These are the options. Actually, interesting option. If you only want 10 items in the list, you can put that here. Or we can also filter on the list. I'll go back. If you want to randomly select an item in the list, you can press random, and it'll highlight a random item in yellow. So hide links will hide these links and these too. So if you see you're missing it, you just have to click the hide or show links. Import, which I won't show, and export I'm not going to show. And everything else I'll show in the future. But so that's just the basics on how to use Listi. Anyway, if you do have questions, you can come here and tweet and send a tweet to me, and I'll get back to you. You will need Twitter. If you don't have Twitter, you can also send me an email here. Okay? Thanks.